We're in a very tumultuous time now, yes. There's a new world order. There's a changing of the guards. And there's a changing of the gods and goddesses. That means there's a natural governmental shift and there's a spiritual shift. When I'm talking about my supernatural experience, when I tapped into and attended this other council, and that same council came down, I want folks to know that what's happening on earth is being played out in government and in politics, which is why I deal with politics, is because that counter is happening in the unseen. There's a government over your head. And the agenda of this unseen government and council is affecting and influencing the affairs on earth. But we can tap into that government to know stuff we don't know, to use those powers and energies and high-level wisdom, classified knowledge and information that supersedes all others, to bring to earth, to remake the earth. I teach in my spiritual school, my students, that the universe is our university. So we learn from the universe, and if the order of the universe is the wisdom that the woman brings life, and she's entrusted to do that, then we shouldn't think it's strange that they actually, by their guidance and wisdom, had the ability to rule the world. But women are meant to manifest differently than men. So we embody the information. We become it. I don't deny my mortality, you see, but it's a problem with you just mere mortality, because there's more to you than what meets the eye.
Bismillah Rahman Rahim. Ramadan Mubarak, brothers and sisters. You are listening to Straight Words on WVON 1690. This is the talk of Chicago. We black, strong, unapologetically pro-Farrakhan on this Tuesday night from 9 p.m. until midnight. We come to you every Tuesday from the WVON studios. Let me introduce the illustrious cast of Straight Words. He is the editor-in-chief of the greatest newspaper on the planet, the Final Call newspaper. I'm talking about our editor. His name is Brother Nabar Richard Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum, sir. How you doing tonight?
Wa alaikum salam. Let's roll, baby. Let's roll.
Let's roll. Let's roll into the former editor of the Final Call newspaper, now contributing editor. He is none other than the great James G. Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Wa alaikum salam, brother BJ. It's gonna be hot tonight, man. I'm wearing my shorts, brother. It's gonna be hot. I got my tank top t-shirt on, man. I'm sweating. I'm already sweating, boy.
We got a great lineup, like Brother James G said. Brother Nabar, tell everybody what we got coming up, big bro.
Oh, brother, you know, we are the black men that love black women. We on that page. So, right, brothers, right. It is a great honor to have our sister on to give us some of her thoughts, some of what she's hearing, some of what black folks are doing. That's, you know, they used to call her the sister with the curly braids, and she is one of the queens, or maybe the queen of true, new black media. And that's our sister Vicki Dillard. Sister, are you there?
Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum and Ramadan Mubarak.
Ramadan Kareem. All right, now. So, look, you ain't got a lot of time. Go ahead, sister.
Yes. Well, first of all, it's such a privilege, such a high privilege and honor to be with you and your audience tonight, of course, your co-host, dear sir. I would be remiss not to remind your audience and about the fact that when I was going through an unjust criminal trial after being targeted for activism years ago, one of the things that kept me going very strong was black media abiding through print publication, which is the Final Call newspaper. My sweet mother ensured that I never, ever, ever missed a beat with the Final Call newspaper. I think I even talked to you perhaps once or twice while I was there for those years. And so I can never thank you and, excuse me, the Nation of Islam for their support. And, of course, even behind the walls, they were a threat because there were still certain restrictions that were put on certain DVDs and media that was brought in from the Nation of Islam, so which is very fascinating. That lets you know quite a bit. And here I am on the other side of that with you today using multimedia, digital media, online alternative media, and more resilient than ever before. So I just wanted to say that I would, you tell me how you want to move forward with this. I won't be long, as I sometimes say, but I'll get to the point and be strong. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Well, sister, let me tell the people a little bit about you, in addition to what you shared.
Yes, sir.
Vicki is the host of the Vicki Show. And that's VICKI, okay? VICKI. The Vicki Show, which airs on numerous platforms, including, are you still on Fly Nubian Queen and Your Black World TV?
No, sir. But I am on African Diaspora News Channel, as well as mine, Vicki Dillard TV, and most social media platforms as well. Yes, sir.
So if you're not following her, go follow her right now. And, really, really powerful sister. She really, as she says, activist, inspirational speaker, and singer, which I didn't know. But Vicki seeks to engage the world via relevant information and divine inspiration to form a more just society. So, Sister Vicki, and look, brothers and sisters, our topic is Race, Reality, Rage in America, Part 2. What are Black folks saying, thinking, wanting, and doing? I guess we can start right there, Sister Vicki. What you're hearing, what Black people saying, what you thinking, all of that.
Well, a lot, to be sure. In keeping with your with the theme in terms of race, reality, and rage, one of the things that folks have to understand is that we're on very, very strong foundation when we discuss the importance and the prioritization of ensuring that Black folks receive justice and reparation and restitution in multiple forms. Why is that important? It is important not just because we're dealing with, as one would say, the color of your skin or just a pigment issue. No. Of course, we know very well that some of the teachings teach that Black is the essence, that spirit from which all things come. But we also understand that there's a reason why they research and they utilize our melanin. There's a reason why they utilize it and put it on the sides of a rocket ship when it's going through space. There's a reason they hold secret meetings. There's a reason why they have advancement in technological advancement and cancer and all kinds of other stuff because of our cells and because of our DNA and so forth. Of course, Henrietta Lacks is a major example of that. If you don't know who she is, you can research that sister who passed away many, many decades ago. But little did her family know that her cells, they stole some of her cells, and those cells have been used in labs to make all sorts of technological and medical advancement. And her family did not receive redress, I think, until the recent few years. I think they got something, an undisclosed settlement. So it's very important that we understand that we must receive justice, prioritization. And when I say justice and reparations, I'm not saying that they could actually fully quantify and reimburse us of what actually belongs to us. But there has to be an exchange. There has to be a tangible, physical exchange. Why? Because it's spiritual. There's a spiritual karma. There's a spiritual debt that's owed when that exchange is made. So it's not just something that we must be flippant about and say we're just over it or you're just being greedy by making that demand. America is in the hell of a condition that she's in. Her position around the world is further exacerbated because of her refusal to do right by us. You cannot, we've recently found, as we found out, I don't know if you all have seen this or not, I've been reporting this, that the United States, we have not, the Department of Defense, the largest agency in the United States, has failed their past 7. They've been failing their 7th audit to the tune of multiple trillions of dollars that it cannot account for war fund. Now, I don't know about none of you all. I don't know if you all could get away with, for example, filing your taxes with the IRS and not being able to account for trillions of dollars, and we just keep moving forward like they don't have any accountability for that. How do we get away with spending hundreds of billions of dollars that we provided to the Nazi Ukrainians, no exaggeration, to fight an unjust proxy war against Russia? How do we justify spending billions of dollars for illegal immigration, even legal immigration? Watch this. Making sure that they have plenty of money on debit cards, making sure they have housing, making sure that they have job fairs, making sure that they have schools, while you pass over homeless Black veterans, and if the mother of 3 children asks for an extra $25 on her food stamps, you call her a welfare queen. How dare you do that to us? How can we justify bringing over white Afghans to this country, giving them tangibles, saying after we fought an unjust war on their territory for 20 years, they helped us? You're saying they're spies? How do we justify bringing them here in this country and giving them tangibles and refuse to give the true founding fathers and mothers of this country one red cent? How dare you say to us that it is okay for us not only to give hundreds of billions of dollars to the Ukrainians over there in Ukraine, but they are qualifying for Social Security here as parolees. And almost 10,000 zip codes in the United States of America voluntarily allowed themselves to be sponsors for tens of thousands of Ukrainians, and we've expedited their Social Security claims where they're actually getting resources, food stamps, and all kinds of stuff. How do you justify, as I recently revealed this story, because I've been going in back to back on these Ukrainian stories with the SSI, because when I was doing that, my anonymous sources told me, not only was that they told me I was correct about the Social Security and Ukrainians, they told me they work in the offices for Social Security, and they're meant to expedite their claims over hours. Not only that, when I was covering it this last time, because I've done several broadcasts on it, I continue to cover stories until it gets the necessary attention. So when I covered the story again recently on the African Diaspora News Channel, one of the Black Americans commented, she's a tax preparer. She says that she's had to prepare taxes for Armenians that we give under our tax code $100,000 write-offs for reparations for a war they had with Turkey a century ago. That killed Kardashian them people. I did a broadcast on it when I read the comments thinking this can't be true, 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 this can't be true. I went and found tax articles that confirmed exactly what she said. But not only that, went straight to the IRS's website. They give us the Adobe format that they need to properly file to make sure that they get their $100,000 reparations taxes right, along with the treaty that they're justified in filing it under. And we learned that they're even double dipping with their country, where they're not even having to report some of the funds that they're getting in their country, and then coming over here from the ones that they had over there with Turkey and getting reparations, because when they were literally trying to fight for reparations, the New York Times, Los Angeles Times, old articles from there where they covered it and legitimately discussed it. They ran into some getting it done as quickly as they wanted to, so they came with the creative means of making sure that they at least gave them some form of tangibles using the IRS tax code. Why am I bringing that up? Because I don't want to hear nobody tell me nothing. But there's not a way for them to find how they can give us money. And the Asian Pacific Island community during the pandemic, not only did they get a crime bill that they claimed that some of us could actually use, but it was targeted for them. Do you know after they got that crime bill, that under Democrat President Biden, under Democrat Senate, and a Democrat House of Representatives, They didn't need Republicans or Democrats to pass any law to give them money. Guess what they did? In 1 year's time, they got the law that required both sides, and guess what? It was an overwhelming number of both Republicans and Democrats that signed off on the law for their crime bill. Watch this. They simply redirected $50 million that was already in government agencies directly to their communities for their businesses. It's a spiritual debt. So I don't want anybody to tell me reparations is about our businesses doing well. I don't want anybody to tell me not only let's just do for ourselves. Of course we must do for ourselves. We taught that. We got to do both things. America will further expedite her fall, which is predestined, which is prophesied, and which is assured if she does not do so. That's what Black folks are talking about, because every time we turn our heads, America is proving to us that they're able to do it. So we must require that she do it for her own existence. That's what Black folks are, number one, talking about. And the other thing our people are discussing is the fact that in this process, we're learning that we're more powerful than we know. We're learning, like Gideon's army. If you don't know the Bible story of Gideon's army, it's interesting. Gideon was this man that was complaining about the fact that every year during the harvest time, the enemy would come and steal their resources, steal their harvest. And he was forced to harvest his threshing floor in a wine press. You're not supposed to be harvesting wheat and stuff in a wine press. He was doing it to hide from the enemy. Watch this. So when he was complaining, it says that an angel came near a tree and called him a mighty man of valor and let him know that he was called to deliver his people. At the moment the angel said, well, you've got this task, he started complaining, talking about he comes from a small tribe. No, not me. No. I want the audience to know that if you see something is the matter, and if you're upset and angry about something, perhaps the divine Allah is allowing you to see it, allowing you to be triggered by it so that you can do something about it. And so when he got the call, and so when he was called to do it, he found every excuse why he wasn't meant to take action. He finally took action. And this enemy that he was up against, I think, was upwards of 100 and some thousand, about 130 some thousand, if I get my numbers right, somewhere thereabouts. And Gideon had about 30 some thousand soldiers. And guess what the angel said to him? He said, you have too many for the deliverance. So through trial and error, they dwindled down his army of 30 some thousand, which they were already outnumbered about 10 to 1, to 300. And guess what they used to win? Spiritual strategy. So I want to tell our beloved family, whether you are a Muslim, whether you are Christian, whether you are Hebrew, whether you are a root worker, whether you are some other spiritual system, it's time for you to gird your loins. It's time for you to get in your prayers and your meditation and get ready to go to war using your spirituality connected to your natural work. That's what Black folks are talking about now.
All right. Well, I'll tell you one thing, sister. One of the things that I've said continually is that white folks do with money whatever they feel like with money. And you talking about trillions of dollars lost just at the Department of Defense. That's every year. And that's just the public budget. That's not the private secret budget that you don't get no access to.
That's a fact. So that's a fact.
I think, sister, this point that you made, and brothers and sisters, I hope we're listening very carefully to what our sister Vicki Dillard is saying, because we have to understand what's going on here. America is under judgment for what she has done to us.
Yeah. That's right.
Now, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad didn't call it reparations using that word. But he basically said, if you are not going to give us a full and complete freedom, not a false freedom, not a second-class freedom, if you're not going to give us a full and complete freedom, separate from us. Give us a separate state or territory of our own that must be minerally rich and have an outlet to the sea. And then you are to supply our needs for 25 years until we're able to fully go for self. Now, brothers and sisters, look. I want you to consider this now. I heard one of the student ministers, I don't remember which one, but he made this observation. He said, brothers and sisters, that wasn't for us. That was for the enemy to have an opportunity. Because God is going to destroy these people, man. Matter of fact, the minister said all white power, Russia, America, Ukraine, Europe, all of it must be destroyed.
That's right.
So we need to understand what time it is spiritually, and why we don't have time to be arguing with one another.
Come on,
and making a white man's case for him. Why are you making a case for him?
Come on. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I mean, why are you making a case for him? He can't make his own case. Yeah, he can. But we so silly. I ask you this: you ever heard a Jew making a case for the Germans?
Come on now.
You ever heard that?
Come on.
You ever heard Americans making a case for the Japanese and why they bombed Pearl Harbor? You ever heard that? Even though America was behind that whole thing.
Right.
But anyway, I didn't want to. But I think that's a powerful subject and a powerful place to begin. Because if we're talking about race, rage, and reality, we cannot ignore reality. And we cannot keep hoping that if we just get the right white man in office, he's going to give us something. Well, I tell you this, brothers and sisters. Remember that Egypt had more than one pharaoh, right? Because you remember there was a pharaoh that Joseph served under. And that pharaoh turned over the keys to the granaries and to the food supply and made Joseph, if not the top official in his government, one of the top. But there was another pharaoh.
Yes, sir.
Who Allah killed. Let me say, man, y'all really don't read your Bible, do you? Jehovah killed that pharaoh.
That's right.
He killed him. Matter of fact, the Holy Quran says that Pharaoh kind of like had a change of heart, and then Allah hardened his heart.
He hardened his heart.
Hear what I'm saying? So that Pharaoh is the one that came after the children of Israel after he was supposed to let them go. And that's the one that was destroyed, and the children of Israel go free. So, yeah, we looking for a white man to do something. The question is, what role is he going to play? Because at the end of the day, ain't nothing stopping us from doing what we're doing. So when Sister talks about time, when she talks about time, we don't have to be despondent. We don't have to be, oh, my God, what we going to do? Get up and do something. Go to work. Unite with the do.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And the rest of the work out that God is on our side. Go ahead, sister.
That's right. That's right. Well, it's a scripture, and you made some very powerful points, but it says those that know their God shall be strong and do exploits. Those that know their God shall be strong and do great exploits. Everybody that we love to talk about and quote took a risk, and they utilized a spiritual currency and frequency called faith. And I'm sitting here looking at some folks sitting on their laurels as if they've accomplished something and talk about what happened back in the day. And it's wonderful to discuss what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said. It's mandated to do that so that you're able to stay on the spiritual school called the Vicki Dillard Mystery School, and I do a monthly mastermind. And there's hardly any major topic where I don't discuss or reference Matthew chapter 6. I use the Bible, as I say, as a book of magic, meaning that I use it more than just the historical of the outer layer of what you're reading. For example, I was born and raised in Mississippi, and so we had plenty of pecan trees, fat, meaty pecans in our yard. We had blackberries and all kinds of stuff, and just up the road we had a walnut tree. And on that walnut tree, when you're pulling the walnut off the walnut tree, before you get to the meat of that nut, you've got to go through an outer hard shell. And before you get to the outer hard shell, there's also like a tan or a green covering. And on its face, on the outside of it, if you bite it, because we're children, it's bitter. You won't even realize what's on the inside of it. So you got to pull back multiple layers in order to get to the inner dimensions. That's what I mean. There's an exoteric or an outer understanding of something, a revelation of something, and then there's an inner, an esoteric, a hidden and unseen revelation of something. So I go for the unseen. And so on the inside revelation, that it's important to understand from Matthew chapter 6, which I teach my students, it says, and it was talking about giving your alms, it was talking about prayers, and it was talking about fasting and the part. Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you faded out a little bit. Repeat your last point for us. We can't hear you
yet.
yet.
Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you well now. Stay right there.
You're right there. Okay, awesome. I accidentally muted the phone. I apologize.
That's all right. Go ahead now.
It says in Matthew chapter, yes, sir, Matthew chapter 6, the esoteric, it gives a clue, a spiritual key, how you work your spiritual power. This is what I want you all to hear. Matthew 6, it says when it comes to prayer, when you go to pray, go into your closet, shut the door behind you, and the God who sees you in secret, one translation said the God that's invisible, will reward you openly. So it's the work that you do. If you want to escape the world around you, in other words, what I'm trying to get you to say, if you want to make changes in our world, in your family, in your community, in your nation, and then in the nations, if you want to have changes first in your world and then make changes in their world, go do the spiritual thing first. You're in Ramadan right now, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You do. The believers have prayers that they do multiple times a day, right?
Yeah.
It's about understanding, as I teach my students, the law of repetition. You're not just praying to pray. When you frequent the spirit realm, you set a frequency. So when you are praying, is it 5 times a day? You're doing something in the spirit realm so that you're making a route for spiritual power to go back and forth to assist your natural work. So what you do naturally, you add the super to it when you engage consistently in prayer. When I was having supernatural encounters, I was doing so much prayer, so much meditation, that the angels and the messengers that came to me, it scared you all. When I went into a trance, and I won't go further because some of y'all can't handle it. That's too much for some of you mere mortals. I won't go there. I won't mess with your audience. I'm supposed to be saying stuff like this. When I started to do what I did, there was a messenger that was sitting on the throne that moved. He was signing documents in the spirit. Out the way and said, I hear Vicki. I think I hear Vicki calling. Don't play with me. The stuff I went through, how did I know what I knew in advance? Some of the things I would go through. Because I was setting a frequency in the spirit realm. So the individuals that I anger, brother, when the White House press secretary had me blocked, she'll know me like that the whole time she was in the White House. The reason why folks from cable news contacted me from MSNBC upset about something I did, the reason why folks from CNN was in my DM upset about something, no, Vicki. It's my energy. And when I was being defamed, and I'm going to be honest with you, it was Christians and Muslims. It was all kind of folks that was calling your sister in my DMs. It was folks doing all kind of stuff to get me to stand down on certain topics. And in that process, without me having any connections behind the scenes, manipulating the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, sent a direct message to this girl from Mississippi. And everybody was tripping because they wanted to know how the people, the Brother Enoch who ran his office was saying, Minister, you knew about the sister. You're the one who signed off on it. He said, no. You didn't tell me about her meeting. No, I knew her, but I didn't know her. And during the time when I was going through some of the greatest hell, he sent me a powerful word. They gave me permission to talk about at least one of the conversations. So that's the only reason why I'm even talking about it, because I was given permission to. I'm bringing that up because Minister Farrakhan, he's one of the most high-ranking individuals that's walked this planet, in my opinion. And I'm bringing that up to let you all know I don't play. And there's a reason why the man of God contacted me and gave me that word of encouragement. I want the believers to know, use what you have in your hand. Take your prayers, whatever it is that you do, seriously enough. Add your faith to it and go to work. That's what I'm saying.
Go ahead.
And I'm done. And I'm finished.
Well, you ain't finished yet, sister. Your work, you still got some work, because I got some minutes on this clock. Go ahead, Brother James.
Yes, sir. No,
Sister Vicki.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Brother James.
No, I was just, the only thing I'm saying is, Sister Vicki, your spirit is moving me, and I'm sure it's moving a bunch of folks who are listening to the show, because what you said is very powerful. And as much as we, even we in the nation as well, you know, it is like you said, we talk about do for self, but do we really go deep enough into, beyond the physical? You know, you have reached a point where you, in my opinion, you know, you've realized what lies beyond the physical, and you tapped into it. And that's what, you know, that's what I guess all of us as believers strive to do. Many may think there's a different process of doing it other than letting yourself be free enough to allow it to come in to you, which you obviously have done, especially due to the trials that you were going through, but it really don't necessarily take, in my opinion, the trials that you went through. But that is the goal of the believer, is to let go of oneself and tap into that which is beyond ourselves, and that what you have just your testimony, and you've given it on the radio.
Yes, sir.
Often, but the passion in which you give it is very digestible, believable, and just listening to you, you know, is my desire is to at least attempt to go where you are, and where you are continuing to go as I go on my own journey. So I've learned a lot just from the little bit that you shared with us just then. But to your other point, lastly, though, is that, as you have mentioned, and as Brother Nava mentioned, and as Michael Jackson and Kendrick Lamar have said, they really don't care about us, and we refuse to see that. And that's what a spiritual realm, a spiritual awakening will allow one to see, because it's beyond the tricks and lies that are physically presented to us. It will allow us to see beyond what they are presenting, to understand really they don't care about us, and we have to care about ourselves. So I appreciate what you said.
We have to care about ourselves. I so appreciate your very insightful words, dear brother. I just want to add to what you just said in terms of looking at what lies beyond, and how we can see beyond sight and know stuff that we don't know. That's what I often say, is I know stuff I don't know. And so when my audience is wondering why am I talking about a certain subject, when I'm getting pushback on certain things, in time, something would take place major in the news, and people will look back, well, how did this look? This shit was hitting on this some months and Sundays ago, you know, and it was on this topic or around that particular topic. And one of the things I want to say is we're in a very auspicious time right now with Ramadan. And it's just even having a consciousness to know, with what, over 1 billion Muslims around the world, utilize that energy, that consciousness, that reality. How many of you know, and I like to use this analogy from different things. When the rocket when you get ready to take off, and we see the countdown, right, with NASA, for example, when the rocket gets ready to take off, first of all, you have to understand that it requires a certain level of gases, right, in order for the rocket to have the necessary ability to propel into outer space. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It has to have the thrust, the necessary thrust. You can't have no look. Well, I prayed that day about 6 weeks ago and did nothing. No. What is all of this prayer for? What's all this faith for? What's all these texts and this Quran and what's all of these alms given and what's all this about? It's about creating momentum, spiritual momentum. You know why? Because unlike airplanes use the air, the atmosphere, in order to take off. Do you know outer space doesn't have atmosphere, so it has to have oxidizers its own to go out of space. So you have to have more to take off if you want to go further. You understand? So this is what I want us to understand, is that it requires all of this so that we're able to endure what? What does a minister go through for all of these many decades? Isn't he, we're talking about all this stuff that folks are experiencing now in persecution and all this. How long has the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan been dealing with this devil?
Yeah.
How long has he been under attack?
Yeah.
That requires a certain type of spiritual regimen to maintain and to be able to sustain that level of warfare. You understand? So this is what I'm trying to get. So if you already got to be preparing, doing this kind of stuff, because you have to take the position that you are already powerful. You got to take the position you already chosen. You got to take the position I'm already called, and then you go to acting like it, preparing it, moving like it. You understand? And then it begins to pull in certain unseen frequencies. You understand? And then stuff, and this is what happened to me. I took that scripture literally. I went into my prayer closet many, many years ago, shut the door behind me, and I just started doing stuff because I was being rejected 20-some years ago from the spiritual community I was a part of. In fact, the top lady at the church stood up, and when the pastor of the church, you know what he said? I'm gonna say this, and I'll have to leave here in just a few minutes. I got to do some medical stuff. She's the leader of the church. I won't give any names. We'll talk about the city, but it's been 20-something years ago. He said that he wanted to actually have me over the particular women's group. You know what his wife did? This is how my energy throws the spirit. I don't care what the spiritual group is. It's just how it works, family. You know what she did? She stood up in the middle of a leaders meeting and said, over her dead body. Woo! I was the leader. She couldn't control the spirit. Do you understand what I'm saying? That she stood up in the middle of a leaders meeting after her husband, who was the bishop of the church, saying he wanted to have me over. She said, over her dead body. She didn't whisper and gossip it to her girlfriend. She didn't text it. She didn't email it. She stood up in the middle of a leaders meeting. That's how my energy messes. But let me tell you something. That happened to me over and over and over again in different groups, different people. And before my mother moved to Colorado years and years ago, you know what she said to me? I called her. She was in Mississippi at the time. I had already moved to Colorado. I was crying and tearing up. This thing just continues to happen to me over and over again. And she said, after I was crying and boohooing, she said, perhaps God wants to teach you himself. That was some of the most profound, that was one of the greatest revelations of my little sweet little mother, who's nothing like my personality and my expression or nothing. But the divine used her so powerfully in that moment when she said, perhaps he wants to teach you himself. And you know what I did? I started going into my own, at the time, my ex-husband and I had several rooms. I turned one of the rooms into one of my prayer rooms, and I literally turned that room into my prayer room and shut the door behind me. And I began day after day, 10 minutes at a time, 15 minutes at a time, 20 minutes at a time, Monday, then Tuesday, then Wednesday, and then stuff starts to happen. All I'm trying to say to you is start with the unseen. The quantum physicists today, the modern scientists and quantum physicists admit what the ancients always knew, And that is everything you see came from everything that you can't see, which means if everything that we see came from everything we can't see, what should we be doing? We should be putting way more emphasis on the unseen. Yes, we don't sit on our laurels with the unseen, but we start there. You understand? And then you watch the super come on your natural. That's all I'm saying. And I'll end it at that. I don't care how crazy it sounds. I don't care all the politics that's going on. I don't care how impossible the thing looks. Nothing is impossible for God. Nothing is impossible for God. Nothing is impossible for God. Your faith will literally move mountains, but you can't know it if you don't go in your spiritual lab. Forget all that speculative knowledge. See, the thing that bothers folks about Vicki Dillard, the greatest, I don't care if folks have been to the seminary. I don't care if they got doctorate degrees. You know what upsets him about me? They can't deny the fruit of my work. They can't deny the fruit of my work, baby. And I will tell you like Elisha, meet me on Mount Carmel with all that speculative knowledge you got, your ability to memorize all that stuff, letters in front of your name and behind your name. That's great. It has its place. But at the end of the day, scientists with their smart selves need to put on their white jacket, put on their glasses, and get their lab, get their beakers, and start testing what their head knows. That level of head knowledge, that speculative knowledge ain't going far today. Before it's over, you're going to be calling the felon Joseph to give you the answers that your professors, your professionals won't have, baby. You're going to come to me before it's over.
Go ahead.
Right. Brother BJ, did you have a quick question?
I just wanted to let Sister Vicki know that I appreciate what you said. Use what you have in your hands and go to work. And I think that message right there is powerful. That's what we need to really drill down into, because you know yourself. You have a firm grasp of who you are, and you don't give a crap who don't like what you do, who don't like what you say. And your freedom is intoxicating, sister. We love you. You keep doing
I love you back.
Keep doing what you're doing and speaking that truth.
She got a gavel, too. She got a gavel.
That's right.
Yes,
and she will bang that gavel.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You got time for one more question? Can I get you for one more minute, or you got to go now?
Yes. Yeah. I will take the next question. Yes, sir.
Okay, this is the last one. Thank you. Real quick. I've been seeing a lot of black folks say, if America is going to hell, don't call me to save it. Are you hearing that similar sentiment?
Oh, there's no question. There's no question. And it's shocking. It's shocking to the powers that shouldn't be, because the very people that you're used to stepping on and being sympathetic and empathetic to everybody's plight and understanding, and when the chicken fries don't work anymore, they're coming to our church and singing Amazing Grace don't work anymore. When the fish fries and stuff don't work anymore, it shocks them. When we would come dance and do the electric slide, that's all y'all used to record us. That's shocking to the system now. So to answer your question, there's absolutely. Yes, sir. Remind me, family. Was it Elijah Muhammad or Minister Farrakhan? Which one of them? There's going to be a certain percentage of dissatisfaction that's going to take place.
That was the Honorable Elijah Muhammad talks about that.
Right.
And
yes, sir.
He said that, Go ahead.
No. I just wanted you to help me with that quote, because I was saying, that's the energy. That's the energy we're in.
Yeah, he said, I believe, Brother James, you can correct me if I'm wrong. He said 30% of the people being dissatisfied can bring about the change. But he said 100% dissatisfaction brings about a total change.
And you got that today.
Well, I'm telling you, I want to leave that question, because I feel that's the energy is what I'm trying to say. You know, I was just in Chicago during the DNC, the week of the DNC. I didn't go to the DNC. I was there. Actually, I did a town hall at How to Eat to Live restaurant there, and I had the honor of meeting some of the family, of course, with the Nation of Islam that came there. but also some of the other activists on the ground. And I'm telling you, Chicago is taking America, and I'm going to tell you, indirectly, parts of the world by storm, what's going on in Chicago, Illinois. I wanted you all recognize just how powerful Chicago is. Now, I'm not supposed to be talking too much right now, but just know I'm planning something real soon, dear brother. So I'll be messaging you and see if we can connect when I come back. But I'm saying real soon. So I was just there, like I said, during the DNC, which just a few months ago, and we're already making plans to come back, be in Ohio. When is it, Blessing? May, I think I go to Ohio. And so I'm planning another trip at least to Chicago and one more to, I'm not going to tell you the other state. I'm already talking too much right now. But just know I'm looking forward to seeing some of you when I come back very, very soon, inshallah.
All right, sister. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
And
I'm so privileged and honored to be with you, and I can't wait to be with you again.
All right, anytime.
We can't wait.
Thank you. Thank
All right.
you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Good night. Wa alaikum salam.
Yes,
Hey, y'all, we got Brother Cliff on the line. Brother Cliff, been holding on for a minute. Brother Cliff, you're on WVON. Go right ahead, brother.
Hey, assalamu alaikum, brothers. I was hoping to get Sister Dillard just to answer that question in reference to her interpretation of the will, Ezekiel. Because honestly, Minister Farrakhan has definitely mentioned it and talked about it again. So from a Christian standpoint, because she's a Christian, correct, our sister?
Oh, she's gone, Cliff.
Right. So maybe she can call back if she can still listen. But if not, then again, I did hear a tape, and also want to say too in closing that our prayers are definitely going out to the minister because I believe he had a procedure done. Did you guys mention that? Because I missed tuning in. We haven't gotten to that. Okay, all right. So I'll leave the rest up to you. I'm done.
But wait, don't. Okay, Cliff, you done, or you got something else?
No, I'm done, bro. I just want to put that out there, try to reach the sister. So assalamu alaikum. Thank you.
Yeah. Wa alaikum salam. Thank you, Cliff, for your support, man.
Thank you.
So, brothers and sisters, Minister Farrakhan a few days ago did have a procedure in the hospital. We are happy to report that he's doing well and recovering. But of course, let's keep him and his family in our prayers. And we just talked about the power of spirituality and faith.
Right.
Yes,
Heavy.
Yeah.
Heavy,
Yeah. So, brothers and sisters, we really hope that you enjoyed that.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So we're at the top of the hour, brothers. For the powerful start to the show, Sister Vicki Dillard. Y'all got to check her out on social media. The sister's been putting it down for years, and she's getting stronger and stronger, as you heard tonight. All right, brothers and sisters, we need your support as we're almost closing out the month of March. So you know what that means. At the end of the month, some bills got to be paid. So we need your assistance in helping this program.
And every week, some bills got to be paid. Go ahead, Brother BJ.
That's right. Every week, the bills got to be paid. So why don't y'all go to our website, straightwords.com, and straightwords.com, and we have several digital opportunities, digital paid portals for you to support our program. All right. So straightwords.com, straightwords.com. Our text line, you can talk with Brother Nabaz live tonight, live tomorrow, live any day of the week. You record this number, write it down so you won't lose it. 312-480-9775, 312-480-9775. If you want to continue to hear content like you're in tonight where you ain't going to get nowhere else in this country, and we're right here in the city of Chicago on WVON Historic Talk Radio Channel, please help us and support us so we can stay on the air and continue as we go into 2025. So, brothers and sisters, coming up next hour, we got more powerful content right here on WVON 1690. You're listening to Straight Words on the Talk of Chicago.